Hello, my name is Paul Pata, and welcome to the Evolving Education, a video series that intends to present new principles, directions, models, methods, and tools in education. In this series, we try to seek an answer on how education should evolve and respond to societal change. Rethinking education with the help of invited experts lets us explore how and in what way pedagogy, formal and non-formal education training, coaching, tutoring, guidance, and mentoring can be developed in order to educate and train young people and adults to meet the demands of the labor market in our globally interconnected and digital age. Evolving Education offers a deep dive into how educators can harness new technologies, learning sciences, skills, competences, and pedagogy that center learners and learning. The interviews are available on our YouTube channel and on the EMINA Foundation's website at eminafoundation.eu. Our today's guest is Karolina Pyzik, psychologist and founder of Senfineco Association, a youth non-governmental organization focused on critical thinking, social dialogue, global education, and global education learning. She has been conducting plenty of activities for the Polish and international youth about multiculturalism, Erasmus Plus opportunities, EU funds, Balkan countries, and many more. And she has been participating in over 10 Erasmus Plus mobilities, including youth exchanges, trainings, personal student mobilities, and internships, alongside many other projects targeting, for example, immigrants, refugees, and the youth between 18 and 25. So today's project will be one of these, and it's an international program for young people from Poland and Slovenia. So why don't you introduce yourselves, or why don't you introduce us to it and tell us a little more about it?
Thank you, Paul. Yes, I'd like to say more about our flag project right now, and which we are very happy with. DYA, the Do-It-Yourself, a Competence Incubator. Some time ago, well, before the pandemic, we decided to work closer with our one of the main partners from Slovenia, Institute of Voluntariat, which tells a lot about the main topic of the project already. The Senfineco Association does not have, is not eligible for joining European Solidarity Corps, the main volunteering program in European Union now. However, we would like to learn more from our experienced partners to jump into the program in 1 or 2 years, maybe. This is why we decided 2 years ago to develop the project, which will prepare us as a team, as managers and our volunteers to get ready for European Solidarity Corps as well. We planned to work only with one country, with the experts on the topic, and we decided to plan and to implement 2 mobilities. Why 2 mobilities? Oftentimes, when I was a trainer or when I was managing projects, I observed that when you go just to one training or one mobility, then it's very hard to really implement your knowledge and to transfer the outcomes of a project to the real ground and to your local community. This is why we somehow wanted to inspire the participants who will get to know in Slovenia and Poland to be more active between the mobilities. On the first mobility, we focus more on self-reflection, self-analysis, and internal interviews somehow. So we wanted our participants, exactly youth, being between high school and university, we wanted to encourage them to get to know themselves better, to get to know their pluses and minuses, or the sides they want to work on, and somehow encourage them to try maybe the volunteering programs within Poland or Slovenia on the local ground, so they are not put in some not secure environment. But then after this first local experiences to international ground within European Solidarity Corps or other volunteering programs abroad. Between the first and second mobility, we were working with them with elements of coaching, with interviews, and their task was also to interview the local communities and local really small organizations working on a little scale to get to know what they can offer and what the volunteers can offer to them. Because we also observe in a huge organizations which offer a lot of opportunities for self-development and for volunteering works, but we often do not respond to needs of these organizations. We do not have a lot of resources to attract the attention of the potential volunteers, and we wanted to focus on those. After the interviews, we decided to create online maps, the digital maps, interactive platforms, where the potential volunteers, still the high school students as well, can go pick the voluntary work they offer and try themselves in a role of volunteers on this little scale. And that was our first step. During the second mobility, we focused a lot more on competences which they can gain from the volunteering experience. And so at first we focused on them, and now we are focusing on what they can give and what they can get from being courageous to take part in the European Union programs. As for now, we can see that at least 4 people out of 14 we hosted decided to take a part in European Solidarity Corps. We as well, we still are in Senfineco, we cannot send them as a sending organization, but we are very happy to mentor them and to give them opportunity to search for more services and on the European websites and on some catalog. So we are happy to somehow push them to the first step. And we can observe the same in Slovenia among the really young volunteers, 18 plus. As for now, we're still developing the maps as well, and we already have plans for the next year to expand the maps on a bigger scale, so we can reach not only our local communities in Łódź in Poland and Ljubljana in Slovenia, but also go further to the regional scale.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. It's definitely very interesting. And I've prepared two questions about the project, and it's interesting that you talk about expansion, because that's also what my first question will be about, because you reference these 2 groups of people, of young people that take part in the programs, both the blended mobility section and the management and coordinating side. And from your experience so far, is there any possibility, or even, I mean, you touched upon it now, but are there any plans to expand it even beyond Poland and Slovenia, or is it going to stay in these 2 countries?
No, absolutely. There is a plan, and we already started working on it last year, yes, in 2020. Together with Portuguese organization, we developed already the follow-up project. However, the GYA project is still ongoing, but already we're planning to implement the project on board games focused on promoting volunteering. We already have the Slovenian version, which is not helpful a lot on the Polish ground. With the help of this, the project we worked on, and we're still waiting for the results from Erasmus Plus, we would like to work on similar board games in Portuguese and in Polish. So keep the fingers crossed so we can have our own games.
Yeah, that sounds very, very interesting. And it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out in the future. My second question is about the topics you're working with. So you mentioned that the volunteers work on issues such as the climate crisis or rising empathy towards animals and pet shelters, global education, and what made you specifically want to focus on these topics and not others?
Well, it was a choice of youth. Before the first mobility, we made some. Well, they had to go through the application process. So within the application process for all participants, the essential part was to focus on the topics they would like to get interested in, and they would like to discover more, so they can switch from the observer, the beginner volunteer, to really being more in depth in the topic and learning a lot more than so far about some certain area. And because of the volunteering opportunities, we wanted to give them the wide choice of the topics. We didn't impose them the certain fields. We just implemented some questionnaires or interviews. We started getting to know them better in person, and out of it, we figured out what topics might be interesting and fascinating with them, for their self-development and in future career development as well. So absolutely, it was not our choice. The youth chose it throughout few weeks of work with us.
Okay, thank you so much. And also thank you for watching. And if you are interested in watching more of these videos, you can find them on our YouTube channel or our website at eminafoundation.eu. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.